You're a man who feels hopeless. You literally can't imagine your wife ever looking at you again with desire or things ever changing between you two. You're the one watching this video right now, but you know that she's not scrolling YouTube looking to try to fix your marriage. You have heard a million times a person won't change unless they want to change, which feels like another nail in the coffin. So when you hear someone saying that if you start changing how you show up, you can change the dynamic, it just doesn't make sense. Like, how? If she doesn't want to change, then how is that possible? I am Lindsay. This is Loving with Intention. Let's dive in because this isn't just some feel-good idea. This is science. And once you really see it, you can't unsee it, and change is possible. So I know that a lot of men are at a place where they just are like putting their heads down, doing their own thing while feeling completely miserable in their marriage. These men, they're tired of rejection, the coldness, the years of hurt, the disconnection. And I completely get it. When things have felt hard for so long and you feel disrespected, undesired, unappreciated for all that you do for your lives, it is hard to imagine that changing, especially when she's not taking accountability and you just feel blamed for all of your marriage issues. And extra, especially when she isn't interested in changing or working on herself. So even though you would love to have a marriage, the marriage that you thought that you would have when you said I do all of those years ago, it feels impossible. Which brings up this idea of going all in on working on you, and then the doubt that often follows that. How can one person change things? So you've probably got plenty of evidence of the times that you've tried to be kinder, you've done things that you know she would like, but you don't get any recognition or appreciation. You've put in the effort to really listen to her again and again, but nothing changes. It makes sense that it's hard to believe that you can be the catalyst for major change. And here's where the science piece comes in. We're going way deeper than the dance metaphor that I always use and often lots of people use. So this piece is talking about viewing your marriage like a dance. When you change your dance steps, hers will change in response. She can't keep doing the same dance steps if yours change because the dance is changing. So this dance metaphor, it is actually a representation of systems theory. So systems theory, it is the idea that everything is connected. You can't fully understand one part without looking at the whole system and how its parts interact. So systems theory, this is the science, it applies to so many things outside of your marriage too. So think about your health. If you are getting stomach aches, your doctor doesn't just look at your stomach, they look at your entire system as a whole. Maybe they identify it's related to stress and you start, going to the gym and maybe you start talking to a therapist and your stomach aches go away. So one part of the system changed another part. And just think about families. Imagine there's two kids, two parents, you're in your same old routines, and then one of the kids starts having regular tantrums and regular outbursts. The entire system would change. The other sibling would start behaving differently, and the parents would too. That one child changing its steps changed the entire dance. It changed the system, the family. The whole system itself, it doesn't have a choice but to change. It had to reorganize around this new behavior. So bringing this back to your marriage, you and your wife, that's a system. And here's what this means for you, that we know when one part of a system changes, the entire system has to reorganize itself. It doesn't get to choose, it just has to adapt to find a new balance. So right now, you have got patterns running in your marriage. Say she criticizes you and you pull away. She scrolls on her phone barely listening to you, you retreat to another room. You attempt physical touch, she cringes or pulls away. Or maybe you criticize her, you point out what she's doing that you don't really like, and she gets really defensive. There are so many patterns running in your system. So whatever your specific dance looks like, these patterns exist because you are both doing your part to keep them going. Not because either of you are bad people, but because that's how systems work. And we all bring unhealthy patterns to our marriages, so we get to look at this with so much love and so much compassion. So when you start changing your usual steps in this dance with consistency, and consistency is key, the system won't allow the same dance to keep happening. She will shift, and I will be totally honest, it is not always immediately or exactly even the way that you hope. Sometimes she might resist, escalate, pull away at first. That is normal. That is the system reorganizing. I have had so many individual clients share, different examples of this. So one started giving appreciation and their partner looks around like, are you talking to me? Or they start saying thank you for mundane things and their partner is looking around like, what is going on? Who are you? So again, these reactions are normal, so it might not be the positive reaction you want at first. It is, though, evidence that the system is changing because it can't stay the same. So this is where consistency comes in. It could be so easy to throw in the towel when things like that come up. Like, here you are giving appreciation and she looks completely shocked. That can totally hurt. And if you can zoom out and recognize that her nervous system is sensing something's not normal and it's feeling cautious, and notice this is a new response, which means things are changing, it can be way easier to double down and continue focusing on how you show up. And this isn't just about adding in like appreciation or thank yous, those were just examples. Let's look at an unhealthy pattern. Maybe you tend to shut down and withdraw when she complains about something that you didn't do. So she's like, you've been saying that you're going to redo the fireplace for years. You never follow through on what you say you'll do. Nothing ever gets done unless I do it. And you start to get defensive, but then you just give up. You go silent, you leave the room. You can hear her muttering under her breath about what a jerk you are, which is more criticism. So you shut down even more. This is your system in this moment, your dance. And yes, absolutely, those things that she said, those are critical. And it would be amazing if she chose to work on her approach and started giving you appreciation and speaking to you in a softer, kinder way. And since she's not doing the work and you want a happier marriage, instead, we get to think about what happens if you change your steps. I mean, you could wait for her to do it, or you could empower yourself to jump in. So instead of getting defensive and withdrawing when she criticizes, you could take some deep breaths. You can stay present, stay curious. You can choose to look under the criticism and find something that is true. You could say something like, I hear how frustrated you are, and you're right. I did say I would do that years ago, and I haven't done it yet. So in this moment, you have changed the system. The criticism, the withdraw dance, it can't continue because you aren't doing the withdraw piece anymore. The system has to reorganize. Maybe she escalates at first, which I'll talk about in a sec, but it's also way more likely that if you do this rather than withdrawing, that she's going to soften and you're going to start seeing from her what you would love to see. The possible resistance that you might see, she might get more critical, more cold, more distant. She might subconsciously, completely unknowingly test the waters to see if this change is real. Things might feel worse before they feel better. You might be telling yourself, see, I knew this wouldn't work for us, which makes all the sense because it isn't easy to do new steps, especially when there's resistance. And you have been in these patterns for a long time. This is the system. When you change, it's trying to figure out the new balance. Loving with intention, ding, 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 means doubling down and staying consistent, which is what I am so grateful to support my clients in doing. And as always, I just must add in that my content doesn't apply to abusive or unsafe relationships. And if I was talking to your wife right now about the same scenario and we were talking about your withdrawing, I'd be supporting her in changing her criticism. So one person gets to go first. And the truth is that most humans, they try new behaviors and patterns in their relationships, and then they just get sucked back into the same old dance, the same old system. They change for a week, maybe 2 weeks. She doesn't respond the way they hoped, and then they go back to the same well-worn patterns. And just think about how many times that you've started going to the gym, and then you've stopped. Or you've started eating healthier, and then you've stopped. Or you've been like, I'm not going to hit snooze on the alarm, and then eventually you're just back succumbing to the snooze. It takes such intention to change the system. So systems theory literally tells us this takes time. So everything that I'm sharing today, it is actually good news for you because you're not powerless. You don't have to sit around waiting for her to decide that she wants to change or that your marriage is going to get better. You have the power to change the system by changing your part in it. That doesn't mean that you are responsible for everything. That doesn't mean that she doesn't have her own work to do. It also doesn't mean that you're going to be the only one working on yourself or that she'll never do relationship or personal growth work. What it does mean is that you get to empower yourself, that you have influence, that you can create change. This is a starting point. And truly, isn't that better than the alternative? Isn't that better to know that you can do something rather than accepting this is how it's going to be forever? When I joined a group coaching program on my own years ago, relationship coaching, I went all in changing my steps in the dance. It was the catalyst for change in a relationship. My partner started showing up in healthier ways, responding to me in ways that I had always wanted. It started the snowball effect of things getting better and better and him diving into doing the work with me. If I had waited for him to get on board or chosen not to do my own work, who knows where we would be now. Instead, I went all in first, and it led to the thriving relationship that we have, and me even leaving my very stable, secure job as a registered nurse because my mind was completely blown at what was possible. I wanted to be a relationship coach because now I could see this is possible. I work with couples and I love working with individuals too because there is so much hope, and I have been in those shoes. So what can you do to start? Well, first, you can comment beyond below and come to my free masterclass this weekend. Get beyond the bickering. Whether you argue, fight, bicker, feel tension in your marriage, feel like you're walking on eggshells, feel just those undertones of annoyance running through everything that you do, whatever it is, we are diving into the 3 keys that one person can start doing to change the dance, the system. I have so got you, so just comment beyond below and I will give you the link. And your intentional action for the week is to grab my free love journey roadmap in the description box. With it, you can start changing the dance today. You have so got this, and you can check out the video on the screen for the 4 areas that I fully dove into when I got serious about working on our relationship. Thank you so much for being here. Remember that nothing changes if nothing changes, and you can be the change. I am sending so much love. Let's have a super intentional week. Bye.